And welcome back here to the Cape Town City Hall, which is, of course, a parliamentary precinct. And the third time since that fire that gutted the National Assembly that SONA will be delivered here, the State of the Nation address. And, of course, as we keep saying, it is the last one for the sixth administration. Well, it doesn't matter who you ask at this point. When it comes to the top priorities that South Africans want to hear the president address, one of the issues that comes up inevitably is that of crime. I'm joined now by Minister Bheki Cele. Minister, good morning. Good to see you here on Morning Live. But of course, how would you sum up the work of the police under the sixth administration? Because if we look at what the president promised last year, we could start with the 10,000 recruits that were promised. How have you fared?
Well, I'm quite happy because I have a full answer on the question. President, the two-state of the nation address here, Sakina, gave us the cycle of 3 years with 10,000 police. Indeed, the year before last, we employed 10,000. They were trained, they're out on the field. Last year, we produced 10,000, they're out on the field. This year, we're beginning the intake of that last cycle. And maybe it's a time that we say thanks to the president and the treasurer, because most of the time, all the time when people wanted some money for any other thing, they took it from the security cluster. Maybe that's a reason that in 2010, we had 195,000 members of the South African police with 50 million South Africans. We've got 62 million South Africans with 187,000. As the population goes up, police has gone down. So that has been affecting the ratio. So when people say we don't see the police, it comes from there. And visibility, by the way, is part of the big policing and all that. Now, this 30,000 will take us to the figures of 2010, not of 2024. So we do expect that the president will continue to say, train more of these kids, which will help on the visibility. Without visibility, without quantity, you can't then go to the quality, because we still have to deal with the quality. One quality that we have really lost are detectives. We have to train more detectives and all that. One quality that we have lost is public order policing. As Falam said in 2014 to say we'll have to have 12,000 of them. There are 9,000 now. We'll be training more to make that. So we are fine in the building of that kind of capacity that has been really lacking.
So I'm glad you invoked 2010 because you were there when we were hosting the World Cup. And many South Africans often ask when they think about how we seem to be under siege when it comes to criminal activity today. Why was it why were the police able to ensure safety, security? We all felt so safe walking the streets of South Africa in 2010. Far cry from the way it feels right now.
We beat the world, Sakina. Everybody was saying we can't go to South Africa for 2010. There are stories we can tell there. This thing started in June, the 2010. In February, March, we're still fighting the battles of people wanting to take 2010 away from South Africa. I remember the meeting we had with Valke, the Secretary General, with Jordan and everybody, wanting to take it because they said there was no security. Come 2010, there was peace, as you say, and all that. There were mechanisms, there were structures that we put. We created new structures. There were no barracks by then, the TRT and all. So, and we, not just 2010, the records, the crime stats tell us that in the year 2010, 2011, 2012, in South Africa, we were losing about 35 people a day. Now we've gone back to 70 a day, which is a bad thing to do. But somebody will then have to tell the story. What happened between 2010, 2011, 2012, where we had one of the best crime stats in terms of the safety.
So what happened?
That capacity was killed, Sakina. I'm not going to explain that. That capacity, one, police all the time were increased come the year, and then from there they went back. Special units that were created like TRT were dismantled. Highly trained people were taken to station, their cars were taken and all that kind of thing, and many other bad things that happened and all that.
Taken by whom? Because I'm curious, because
the government of the people that were in the government in that particular time, there were national commissioners that time which came after Cele. There were ministers that came after Cele. There were presidents on the time and all that. Maybe that question can be better answered on that one. But those structures that were created were weakened. The head of Hawks was taken at the time. Many other people. One of the best provincial commissioner of Gauteng was taken away, was not renewed. You'll remember.
Okay.
Yes. So
we don't have time. So how do we restore that?
As I'm saying, after a long time, it's the first time we train such many police. It has never happened that we train 10,000 at a go. The highest would have been 5,000. That is happening. Improving both quantity and quality. People are getting trained and all that. We are opening a new University College of Police in Hammanskraal. We're working with 3 top countries on all that to train our detectives and all, increasing the number and all. But one thing that we're trying to strengthen is a working relationship with communities. For instance, for the first time ever, we have budgeted in the previous budget 70 million for CPFs. It has never happened. Just to equip them, buy them the equipment, cars and all that kind of, because we are not going to beat crime if you don't work with communities. It's one thing that we're looking very close of, working with the communities as we improve the capacity of the police.
Let me bring in the National Police Commissioner, Mr. Masemola, here to talk to us as well. Thanks so much for your time as well. So down on the ground, operationally, you are the one who is responsible, and ultimately the buck stops with you. South Africans saying they're not feeling safe. What do you have to say to them?
We as South African Police Service, we are doing our best. What you see out there is what we have. We do not have any other extra member somewhere. We are deploying since May last year. We started with Operation Chanela, and all the resources that we have are deployed in the provinces at the right time when the crime is happening. We are already on the ground. We are re-enlisting extra detectives, as the minister has said. We are re-enlisting extra 400 detectives of those that left the service that can still be accommodated back. And we are also training other capacities like your specialized units, your TRTs, in order to boost the numbers on the ground.
So the here and now, issues such as gangsterism, the trust deficit between the general public and the South African Police Service. Because people say, you go and you open a case against someone, and before you know it, you see them back in the community after having committed heinous crimes. The drug dealers, running amok, essentially taking over these communities. So how do you respond to the public when they say they don't trust your men and your women in blue because they don't seem to see the fruit of what you are saying here?
Look, in every house there will be those that are not trusted, but majority of the women and men in blue are very loyal. They are doing their work in this very city where we are. That's where we have taken down 2 of the top drug gang leaders in this town. Your Maddock, you'll know, he was in court about last week. Stanfield was in court with his wife and he's still running court. So there's quite a number of them.
But then you still have Mitchell's Plain Police Station being broken into and weapons being stolen. How is the community going to feel safe if you can't keep the police safe?
True, Sakina, but it's not the whole of police of Mitchell's Plain. It's just 1 or 2 that we are dealing with. We can't close the police station. Surely we have to have police working there. We are dealing with those that have stolen those guns. But at the end of the day, they will face the law. But we are working with the community, and we have realized the problems in your Cape Flats. We had deployment for over 2 years here for members that are coming outside the province, but now we are considering bringing them back because we see the situation is becoming problematic.
Well, it's a hard job, I tell you, and looking forward to hearing what the president will say tonight. We were told last year also about things such as, whistleblowers and being kept safe. That is a huge, huge issue because we talk about corruption as being endemic in this country, but how do people come and blow the whistle if they are then setting themselves up for danger? So quite a bit to talk about. The budgets obviously will also be key, but of course we'll await to hear what the president has to say later tonight. So the Police Minister and the National Commissioner, thanks so much for your time this morning.